certainly Kevin Durant being gone is a devastating blow, but they're still a legitimate team. And the acquisition of Matt Barnes with his mental toughness, with his tenacity, with his fearlessness, because he's not scared of anybody. As far as I'm concerned, that's a welcomed addition to any bona fide playoff roster. But I can't ignore what I'm seeing from the San Antonio Spurs and the Houston Rockets. In the case of they can. A matter of fact, at some point in time, Max, you and I may need to get into a discussion whether or not LeBron James and those boys are happy KD is hurt. Because basically, if the KD is hurt and can't go, if the San Antonio Spurs are the team that LeBron James has to face, I'm not sure he'd look forward to that. I'm not going to sit up there and say that Golden State is not the favorites, but could they get knocked off without the services of Kevin Durant? I think the odds of that happen have increased exponentially.
If Kevin Durant is gone, the Warriors will not win a championship. That's not going to happen without Durant. But let's say he gets back by the playoffs, and he's something less than 100%. He's 80%. Not only do I think that even without Durant for the rest of the season, the Warriors are likely to win the West to be the #1 seed, I also think at, let's say, 80% of Durant, the Warriors get out of the West once the playoffs roll around. I don't think the Spurs are 4 games better than the Warriors taking Durant off the Warriors over a 22-game period. And I certainly don't think the Rockets are 8.5 games better. Is a lot of the praise that the Spurs get for being coached up so well, for being this machine. The Warriors deserve that too. With Kevin Durant, they're basically the Spurs with more talented personnel. Without Kevin Durant, they're kind of the Spurs.
Durant, they're not the Spurs without Kevin Durant, because the absence of him after you've been playing with him this long, combined with the absence of Harrison Barnes and Andrew Bogut, really hurts you, particularly against the Spurs. If you're thinking about life without Kevin Durant, it has to be without Kevin Durant, Bogut, and Barnes. The 3 of them. That's not the same team.
Well,
That's
except that we're talking about 2 different things. What I'm saying is, with 22 games for the Warriors left to play, the Spurs have a couple more than that. If the Warriors go, let's say, 16-6 without Durant, the Spurs would have to go 20-2 just to tie them for the best record. So I think it's more likely than not that the Warriors just hold off the Spurs, because there isn't that much more time to make up those 4 games. Then once the playoffs start, we're assuming at this moment that Durant comes back and he's most of what he is normally, but maybe not all. In that case, we're no longer talking about the Warriors without Durant. We're talking about the Warriors with some version of Durant, and they've been better than everybody all season like that.
I would tell you right now, I can't assume that Durant's going to be there.
Well, that's another story,
right
of course.
Now. Okay. Well, can you imagine this? Bogut in the middle, just for at least some minutes. Bogut in the middle, Tristan Thompson as your power forward, LeBron as your small forward. Could you imagine how you have the potential to be?
When Stephen A. Smith says, well, I don't know if we can just assume that Durant will be back even for the playoffs, I know you talk to a lot of people. Some things you can and some things you cannot report. That makes me very nervous about the future this season.
You should be very nervous about Durant. You should be very nervous about Durant.
Let's just assume for a second that Durant can come back as some semblance of himself. Do these Cavs, should they now be considered the favorites because of what you just brought up? Because of the acquisition, not only of Andrew Bogut, but also of Darren Williams, who's an excellent pick-and-roll point guard in the league where that's really very important. And, by the way, Derek Williams, who has a lot of value off the bench.
And getting J.R. Smith potentially.
And J.R. Smith's coming back.
Even if Kevin Durant is healthy, the Cleveland Cavaliers right now are my favorites to win the championship. With these 2 pickups in Bogut and Darren Williams, the Cleveland Cavaliers are officially my favorite to win the NBA championship, whether Kevin Durant is 100% or not. The ingredients to the Warriors' success over the last couple of years has been their depth, not just their perimeter shooting, not just their stars, but their depth. Cleveland, they had questionable depth and still managed to get to 2 finals and win a chip. This year, they now have depth with the acquisition of Derek Williams, who is active, who I think is going to be just as vital to this team as I perceive Matt Barnes as being to the Golden State Warriors. I think it's one of those situations where if I've got to look at depth, I'm going to say even. If I have to look at physicality, I'm going to say Cleveland. Referees, as it gets deeper, nobody wants to take the outcome away from the players.
That's right.
They want to let you play. And if they let you play, then they're going to allow Cleveland to sort of impose their physical will. And Golden State's answer is going to have to be perimeter play.
And you live by the
and how are you going to do that?
And they better
That's
be
what
hot
I'm saying.
in that case. Look, and the best players on Cleveland, by far. LeBron's a lot better. Yes, at this moment, given what we know about Kevin Durant, Cleveland has to be considered the prohibitive favorite.
You could argue they have the best roster top.
No, if Durant comes back for the playoffs, I still like Golden State.
Are they your favorites?
Yes.
You're saying if he's out,
Yeah,
no.
right.
If he's in, yes. I got it.